Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Gabrielle. Welcome to Hot Topics. This is a production of our company, A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. Welcome. We've been at the game for a while now, but for those of you just joining us, let me tell you what we're about. This is a web series where we like to talk that real talk. We like to talk about things that are unexpected, um, that are not talked about a lot, or we talk about it within our inner circle with our friends, but it's not necessarily out in the open. We like to share resources. We like to talk about those things that we think about in the back of our minds. Well, this is the show where we bring those things to the front of our minds. And we also like to explore new things that are out there. So, this is the show where we like to talk about those steamy topics, right? Or the unexpected. So, of course, we tend to focus on certain topics. We tend to focus on uh, like relationships with other people. We tend to focus on physical health, mental health, employment, education. If you check out our video library, wherever you are watching this right now, we have topics on divorce. We have topics about disabilities. We have topics about financial literacy. And what other topics do we have? I'm trying to think. What other topics do we have? And we also have topics about homeschooling. We have a whole bunch of topics about homeschooling. So we go all over the place, and of course in our spectrum, but we we definitely go all over the place, and we like to explore the known and the unknown. And today is no different. Today we're going to explore the unknown. And this was an interesting topic when I came across it, and I definitely can't wait to explore it. So, with that said, the topic of this episode is Cuddle Party, right? So when I saw that, excuse me, when I saw that, I was like, what? What is that? So that is definitely unknown to me. And I have a guest with me who is going to explore that with me, and is going to go into a discussion of what it's all about. So I'm looking forward to having this discussion on this topic. So, my guest is coming to the hot seat, and his name is Adam Paulman, and he is one of the members of the nonprofit called Cuddle Party, which we will provide all that information at the end. And he is on the hot seat for today. So let's get right to it. So, who is Adam Paulman? Let me tell you who he is. So, Adam Paulman has been a facilitator of workshops, trainings, festivals, and multi day events for over 40 years. He is fascinated by group dynamics and the elements that support cohesion and purpose. He is a certified Cuddle Party facilitator and trainer, as well as a member of the Cuddle Party Board of Directors. Adam likes to describe Cuddle Party as, quote, an advanced communication workshop cleverly disguised as a pajama party, end quote. Cuddle Party provides for a platonic affection in a touch deprived world. The rules of cuddling are simple in scope and revolutionary in practice. Many describe the communication skills learned at a cuddle party as life changing. Adam has degrees in mathematics and multicultural education. San Diego is his home, but Adam loves to travel. When he is not facilitating cuddle parties around the globe, he likes to spend time with his children and grandchildren and play the bass guitar. That is awesome. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring him to the stage right now. Hi, Adam. How are you doing today?
Hi, doing wonderful. Thanks for asking. How about you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. So, let's get right to it. This is unknown to me, right? And I'm sure it's unknown to a lot of other people. So, let's start with the basic question: what is a cuddle party?
It's a great question, and it's interesting to answer that other than what you've said already, the idea that it is a advanced communication workshop cleverly disguised as a pajama party. Cuddle Party has two parts to it, and the beginning is that it's a workshop in communication. Sometimes I'll like to ask people who are inquiring, have you ever said yes to something and meant to say no? I've never encountered anyone who didn't say yeah. In fact, I might, if I'm feeling playful, say, how about this year? Or how about this week? Or how about today? Have you agreed to something that you would rather not? And Cuddle Party can help you with that because we teach and practice saying no, how to say no in a way that is a gift. Likewise, have you ever said no to something that you really wanted because you thought you didn't deserve it? Again, most people will relate to that. And Cuddle Party is about that. It's about asking for what you want and being able to receive what it is that you're desiring, what it is that you're needing in your life. And so that's, sort of a introduction to it. Then the second part of, and there's more to it than that, but the second part of the Cuddle Party, which is sometimes we playfully refer to as freestyle cuddling, comes after that. And this makes Cuddle Party rather unique in this sort of personal growth experience workshop kind of world, because not only do you have the teaching place, but you have a chance to practice it in a supportive environment right away. You can ask for and respond honestly and practice the skills that you've just learned. I think I've talked a lot, but
I know.
how are we doing?
Did you finish so far so good? You finished your thoughts?
Oh, I never finished my thought, but let's go back to you for it.
All right. Awesome, awesome.
What more would
So
you like to
you
know?
were so in the bio when I read that we are in a touch deprived world. I thought that was an interesting phrase. Can you go into that?
Yes, and for a lot of that, I would refer you to the literature that's available online, books. This has been the term skin hunger was not invented by me, and the idea that people need nurturing touch. This is very well documented in the infants. When they're born, the first thing they do, they put them right on their mother's chest to be held and to have that kind of connection. And they have the research shows that children, infants that don't receive that kind of touch are don't do well, don't thrive. Now that same kind of longing for touch is with us throughout our life, and cuddling parents and children do this. We do this with our dogs and our cats. What happens sometimes as we become adults is that this kind of non-sexual nurturing touch is overshadowed by our open sexually. So touch takes on, and which is not a bad thing, but we leave behind the nurturing part. And uh, yeah, we need that as well.
So we're not really connecting with other people as we could be or as we should be.
Well, I don't know. I think we don't have the opportunity. We don't know that that's okay. Puberty comes along and we become sexual beings and we start dating and having sex and get married and having babies and things like that. And the experience that we had as younger children, maybe we forget that that's available, that that's possible to have touch that is just there for the pleasure of the skin. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of times people will enter into sexual connection not necessarily because that's what they want, but they have a longing for something and they're not entirely sure what it is. And what Cuddle Party does is it creates a container of agreements where sexual touch is taken off of the table. And what's available then is this deep, nurturing, platonic touch that people have a great longing for. It seems weird at first, and it did to me. And what I've found with the people who I've facilitated with and trained as facilitators is that it's an awakening of, wow, I didn't even know I wanted that. And it is wonderful. Sometimes it is like this moment of surprise of, who knew that I wanted somebody to just hold my hand, or I wanted to have somebody give me a shoulder rub, or I wanted to look deeply into somebody's eyes and feel that connection.
And it's interesting that you brought up platonic touch, because I feel like a lot of people may not know what that means. Because especially when I first learned about Cuddle Party, I have to admit my mind went straight to the gutter. I thought about it in terms of a sexual nature, but that's not what you guys are about. It's about how to touch people without it being sexual, but more of building relationships with other people. Is that is that along the lines of what you guys are about?
I'm not sure it's so much about building relationship, because that, sort of implies something that's ongoing. And if there's not a relationship, then there's something wrong with the touch. And relationships are great, and I encourage people to have them if they want. But what if you don't have a relationship? And does that mean that you don't have an opportunity to experience nurturing touch? A cuddle party is a place where it's not cruisy, I guess is what I want to say. And it's discouraged from being that, a place to go and, pick up somebody and you might meet your future mate there, but you might not. You might go there and just meet some other people that are open to exploring nurturing touch the same way that you are.
So in terms of touch, it's more about being nurtured.
Yeah. It may be like when you were 6 and your parent was reading to you, or you were sitting on the couch watching TV and eating popcorn together, and there's a connection there, and and maybe not everybody has had this experience, and maybe you have a longing for this and don't even know that you do. I'm certainly not going to try to speak for everyone and say that everybody has to feel this way, but many people do have a longing for a kind of physicalness that maybe you could feel it in your hands, putting your hands together for a moment and feeling that self-connection and imagining having that connection with someone else. And there's a lot. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Please divulge.
The other part is 2 parts about this, and one you referred to is the idea of that. Cuddle party, that must be sexy. I've been doing this for, I don't know, about 6 years or so, and had other kinds of workshops before that. But it's taken me about 5.5 of those years to convince my daughter that I'm not putting on orgies. And she's like, yeah, that's what everybody thinks. And I'm like, well, I'm sure that people do think that, and they would be surprised if they came and had the experience with us. The other thing is that cuddling is belly to back, laying down, arms around. This is cuddle pose, and this is the only thing that cuddling is. Cuddling is in the way we describe it and define it in Cuddle Party is a very, very wide array of choices of how you want to connect with another human being or other human beings. And it can be lying down, belly to back, people in a row. It could look like that. It could look like holding hands. It could look like having somebody brush your hair. It could look like playing a game of Monopoly together. With the idea there that there is going to be a connection that happens and an openness to connect with another human being. We try not to define cuddling in a specific way because what happens is people will invent. It's like it is they're desiring rather than choosing from a menu. You get the world is your menu. What would feel really wonderful right now is the question. And the answer might be, I don't know, but I'd be willing to try the floor back to back. Great, let's try that. Maybe after a few minutes, wow, this feels good. Or maybe it is, I thought I wanted that, but I think I've changed my mind. Let's try something different, or I think I'm done. Have freedom to ask for what you want, saying yes or no to invitations, and being able to change your mind when you've had enough. I remember as a teenager going to the movie, friend putting my arm on my shoulder, and after it's the blood in my arm anymore, and it ached, but I didn't know how to indicate that I need my arm back. And with a little bit of people have had the experience of being on the receiving end of an arm like that. And after it feels good for a couple of minutes, and then it feels like 15 pounds. And not having the language for say, I thought that was going to pull, and it really was, but I think I'm done with it. That freedom to change one's mind, really big part about the party. And, and I could ask you, can you think of a time when you had agreed to something and then later found that you would have liked to have had a graceful way and finished?
I don't remember anything specifically, but I'm sure at some point in my life, I agreed to something just to do it, or just because I like the person, and I wanted to do something with them, just to later regret it in the end, or it wasn't what I expected.
I find that sometimes in going to a party, I like to leave a party when I'm having fun. And other people will say, no, let's hang on a little bit. You know what? I'm kind of done. It's really good. And I'm going to have the memory of it being good. Having a graceful way of saying that you need to leave, or you're ready to change, and you're connecting with someone or someone's, is again a very big part of what we teach in the communication.
All right, so let's get into that. So, what happens at these parties? Tell me tell me about a typical cuddle party.
So it'll start off. It begins with introductions, and this is really important. It's going to say, and look there, and the facilitator will welcome them. Everyone has the experience of starting out being seen and heard, which is we're people and we're here, and this is who we are. And then we have about an hour or so of teaching with some activities within. In fact, we start out with called the no exercise, and you might would ask to somebody near or next to you, practicing no. because a lot of people have a hard time with that. And we want to begin the experience party with the affirmation of that. And then we'll go through the rules of cuddling. There are 11 cuddling that help space people can feel supported, because it's awkward into a room wearing pajamas with a people that you know, and it can feel awkward. We want to create a space and a common experience for people. A little bit awkward, but it's supported in that awkward. And we can sort of get through that, and I not want to use the word get through it, sort of embrace that, because it meeting new people can be kind of for some. I know it, and for me. So there's an hour and a half of what we call the welcome circle, and then there's the practice time. You interact, get some snacks, interact with the other people that are at the event, and explore what might feel good to you.
So how? So I imagine at these parties you talk about things like consent and communication. Do you mind getting into that a little bit? And touch. Sorry.
Okay, you know what? Why don't I do this? I'll explain that too, and refer to what we refer to as the rules of. I think that might really answer your question. The rule of cuddling is that your pajamas stay on the whole time. If it's sweatpants, whatever it is, people say, "Well, I sleep naked," and I say, "Well, that's fine. Thank you for the information. You still have to wear, or you have to wear something, but the clothes stay on the whole time because." Event, and that's one way that we maintain that, is that nobody gets naked. Second rule of cuddling is you don't have to touch anybody at a cuddle that you don't want to ever. I've had people cuddle party. There was one gentleman who said, "I'm going to sit here in the chair and I'm not going to participate in any of the activities. I'm just going to sit here." And I said, "Great, you get to do that." And at the very end, when we had the closing circle and we all stood up, he said, "Oh, okay, I want to join now." But there's nothing that you have to accept to abide by cuddling. Rule 3 is that you must verbal for anyone. So as we go through this, we're building up the structure of the agreement that provide for consent. If you're a yes, say yes. That want to no to something. Maybe this is an important thing in the communication piece, is if you're not sure whether it's something that you might like, to say no, because you can always change your mind and say, maybe this gives you a chance to think about it. Why is it that I don't want to do that? Maybe, or, I thought that was something that was going to be, but it really isn't. Know ahead of time, and that everybody is in agreement that you can do that, it's a lot less awkward changing your mind. If you know that it's okay. Respect relationship agreements with partners who aren't there. Know that there's a facility to go to. Anything comes up for you, if you have feelings come up that you support with, there are facilitators and free assistants who to be able to help you with that and talk with you. If there's anything that is, tears and laughter are both welcome. an event one time, and there was a gentleman sat with him, and we just into each other's eyes, cried together for a couple of minutes, and then he said, wow, that was what I just needed to be seen with my feelings. Respect people's privacy. What happens at a cuddle party, you can talk about your experience, but don't talk about what other people did or other people who have to be there. And lastly, to keep the cuddle space tidy, to have some consciousness. If you're going to have a drink, make sure that it's in a sealable bottle. Don't bring a cup of coffee over and sit down in the cuddle space because it's liable to get spilled. And so there's some interactive activities that go along with that, but that's essentially what creates the space and the social agreements that allow for us to explore nurturing touch. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you. So, do these parties, where do they take place? Do they take place in someone's home, in an office, in a public setting? Where do these parties tend to take place?
Not public stuff. Had most of my cuddle parties were in my living room in California. I would say that probably most of the facilitators have them in their home or somebody's home. Then maybe they'll borrow a space from somebody who's got some room. Yoga studios, I've done them in yoga studios. I had a cuddle party in a yurt in Ireland one time. That was beautiful. That was about 50 people. So it's, any place that you can have some cushions on the floor and some pillows to make it soft to sit on the floor or to lay down can easily be turned into a cuddle space.
And if someone wanted to join a cuddle party, how can they do that?
Well, the cuddle party facilitators, are essentially free agents. We train them and certify them, and then it would be getting in touch with somebody who is in your area. I think right now it's been a couple of years in the cuddle party world with the pandemic and all. A lot of people have not been having events, and they're just starting to now. There is actually there's one coming up in New York City soon. There's a fellow who's in training is going to be having one there. I don't have his information available for you right now, but if you'd like that, I can give it to you. There's a gentleman in Boston who has been having cuddle parties. There's a woman in Stockholm. There are some cuddle party facilitators in Australia, and I think that they're just releasing the mandates there, and they're going to be having live cuddle parties. Here in San Diego, there was one last Sunday, and we have a number of official certified cuddle party facilitators here. So they'll start propping up more, and what happens is you respond to the invitation. There'll be you'll see the invitation on a website or a meetup or something like that. You respond to it, and however this particular facilitator registers you, gives you the details of how to locate it, will be different wherever you happen to be.
And where, in terms of the world, I guess, where do they tend to be? So you said you're in California. Is it only in California? Is it in other states and other countries?
Yeah, it's international. The most recent person who we certified is in Orleans, France, which is just outside of Paris. There are several people in Sweden. There's someone in Antwerp, Belgium, France, Spain, England, Scotland, certainly across the United States, Boston, New York, Connecticut, here in San Diego area, San Francisco area, Seattle, let's see, Texas, Austin, Texas, San Antonio, Texas, Australia. Two people that are currently in the training program from Bali. There's a woman who's in the training program from Korea. And it's been very interesting working with her because she doesn't speak any English. So everything is being translated from English into Korean. And we're very excited to have her bringing this teaching to the people at, I forget what city she's in. It's outside of Seoul. So yeah, it's easily international.
And in other states as well in the US.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of running off the top of my head with it. And if there is not a cuddle, Chicago, if there's not a cuddle party where you are, we can train you to be the cuddle that you want in the world. We have that. This is actually what the organization of Cuddle Party is really about. Is about training facilitators who then go on and have their own events. We could take somebody, and our training program is such that you don't have to know anything about facilitation. You just have to have a desire to want to make a change in and make the world more consensual, make the world more nurturing in nature, and we will teach you how to do that.
So now, why? Well, I'll ask you this: what do people, what do they gain from attending these parties?
Well, actually, and this is almost universal. I'm certain that there's always an example of somebody grumpy time and didn't like it at all. Might have been me in my first. But there's this a feeling of well-being that comes from nurturing touch, from being in a place where feelings matter and your presence matters. I know for me there's the sort of feel-good hormones, and I'm probably, let's see if I can read them all. Oxytocin. And now I can't remember the rest. But these are the hormones that make you feel relaxed and peaceful and happy, and these are stimulated by nurturing touch. Dopamine. What's the one? Oh, I'll think of it later.
Okay. The happy the happy emotions.
Yeah. Google it.
So why would someone want to go to a cuddle party?
Oh my goodness, there's so many reasons for that. One is to meet some other people that are more interesting than the people that you might meet at a bar. In an environment that's much more interesting, where alcohol is not used as a lubricant, where people can show up in their honest, true self. So it's a great way to meet people if you're wanting to do that, wanting to meet people who have a similar desire to have their touch needs met, to socialize with their friends. People have a tendency. I think I've always had people come to my cuddle party that I didn't know before, but mostly there are people who are repeat customers, so to speak. That the experience is such that it's like, yeah, when's going to be the next one? I want to do this again, because it feels good and it feels happy, and it's an alternate to the other ways that people connect that may be kind of tired by now for you.
That's awesome. Awesome. So, how long have these cuddle parties been happening?
See, 2004. Um, Reed Mihalko and Marcia Basinski were living in New York, and there's a number of different stories about how it happened to start out, and I think I get different ones from them. Um, but for one reason or another, they happened to invite a bunch of their friends over and said, let's have a cuddle party. And they came up with this list of rules and said, this is going to be fun. We're going to have a good time. Because their needs were for connection were not being met in the way that they were living, in the things that we're doing so far. And it was phenomenally successful. Everybody who went to it said, this is the best time I've ever had. I can't wait to do it again. And they started out, they were having them a couple of days a week, immediately. And it got some national press. In fact, I think in one of the CIS TV drama programs had a little in there about Cuddle Party. But essentially, it was a good idea waiting to happen, and became immediately very successful. People who attended the Cuddle Party said, hey, that were from far away, other parts of the US, said, hey, we want to do it. And so they wrote out a script and said, here, take this and go and have your cuddle party. And one of the things that they discovered right away was that it wasn't enough to have the script. You had to know how to be a facilitator. They started a facilitator training program, and we continue to do to this day, train people in facilitation and train people specifically in facilitating cuddle parties. So it got started. It was a good idea whose time had come, and it grew from there. And as people experienced, they wanted to become facilitators. And as people heard about it, they wanted it to come to their city, so they invited facilitators or became certified on their own.
So so not anyone can be a facilitator, right? They have to be trained.
Yeah, people have people have accessed our material and attempted to have cuddle parties without this specific training, and have been less successful than they could have been. And we have the name Cuddle Party is a trademark. So if you're going to use that name, you have to be certified by us. Yeah, and which you can't invite your friends over for a cuddle party, but if you're going to be putting this on and marketing it and so on, and we'll make you a better facilitator anyway. You want to do our training.
It's good to know. Good to know. All right, so we're starting to wind down. So, do you have any final words of wisdom or any advice that you would like to share?
um, wow, that's such a big question. Words of wisdom or advice to share. And you know what? I'd like to tell you a little Cuddle Party invitation to it. Party is a nonprofit organization. It's a 50, and our mission is to promote and to enable empowered consent, choice, and nurture. The way that we do this is by training and certifying to Cuddle Parties and other events. So the invitation of wisdom, you could do this as well. You could attend Cuddle Parties. You can look at our calendar on our website and see where there are some in your area. And if you could do that, We can work with you. This is another thing that is particularly unique, I think, in the training field, is that we're not done with you until you are successful. Um, there's a training program that we go through that's very detailed, and then in order to become certified, you have to have produced 3 successful cuddle parties, and you might not do it with just 3. It might take 4 or 5 or whatever until you feel completely satisfied that you know how to do this and you can do it successfully. We don't, we stay with you. And even after you've been certified, you can come back and redo the training with us, and we're with you and supportive through all of that. We don't just say, okay, you've had the training, go on to it. Good luck for you. Let us know how it turns out. We're like, no, come back and share what's happening. And there's a gentleman from Texas who frequently comes back and checks in with us. And it was, yeah. So, yeah, is departing words of wisdom or is an invitation to attend a cuddle party if there's one near you. And if not, you could invite a facilitator to come to your location. We'll usually do it for a support with an airline ticket or something like that. Or take the training yourself. It's available. Yeah. Would welcome you to join.
Thank you for that invitation, and thank you for elaborating on this topic today. So, for those of you watching, you can learn more about Cuddle Parties and the organization Cuddle Party. They are online. They're all over the web. Um, so you can visit their website at cuddleparty.com, and they are also on Facebook and Instagram. So I encourage you to follow them and to learn more about them. And if you want to be a facilitator of a cuddle party, go to the website and learn how to become a trained facilitator. And for those of you interested in finding a cuddle party somewhere, um, I think the listing's on your website, right?
It's
About
on
where
the
the parties
website.
are.
Yep.
Right. So wherever state you are, wherever country you are, you can go to their website at cuddleparty.com and you can look for parties that are already in place to go to. And if you happen to be in an area that there aren't any parties, you're welcome to start your own, right? But then, of course, you would have to go through the training and become a trained facilitator. All that information is on the website, and I encourage you to go and learn more about Cuddle Parties. And again, follow them on social media. They are on Facebook and Instagram, and the information is scrolling below on your screen.
One more thing is
Yes.
to remember we are a nonprofit, a 501c3, and there is a charge for people to become facilitators, but it doesn't cover our operating expenses. And so we're very open and happily to receive tax deferred. What are they? Anyway, donations that are tax deductible. That's the word I wanted to use.
Well, speaking of donations, right? So, you guys watching, normally I encourage you guys to donate to us a step ahead, but I'm going to pass on that honor to Cuddle Party. So, I'm sorry to get my words together. So, Cuddle Party is a nonprofit, it is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. So, I encourage you to donate to that organization as well and to support their operations and their services. So Adam, if can you read the mission statement of Cuddle Party?
Sure. I referred to it earlier, but I'll read it to you again. Cuddle
Yes.
Party, in fact, to make sure that I don't lose out on any of the words, let's get it right in front of me.
All
Cuddle
right.
Party, Cuddle Party Inc. is a 501c3 nonprofit charitable organization. We focus on training. Our mission and purpose is to promote and enable empowered consent, choice, and nurturing touch. We do this by training and certifying facilitators who produce cuddle parties and other related events. There are two of us that are primary trainers, is myself and Madeline. Um, we're also members of the board of directors for Cuddle Party. Um, if you were to sign up, the first thing you would get is some contact with me, who reviews all of the applications and inquiries that come in. And we would love to have you join us.
Awesome. And for people that want to donate and support you, where can people donate?
Well, if you go to cuddleparty.com, at the very top of the page, there's a button that says Donate Now. And that would be a wonderful thing, to do it just like that. You could also, yeah, it's the best. I was going to give you the PayPal, but it's best to have you just go there, and you don't have a mistake typing in and ending up sending it to the wrong place.
There you have it. All the information is on their website. So if you want to donate and support the cause, go over to the website, cuddleparty.com. I'm just going to put that information up one more time. So again, go to their website, cuddleparty.com, and donate to support the organization. And go there anyway to learn to find a cuddle party near you or to become a cuddle party facilitator.
Terrific.
So, Adam, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Gabrielle.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to place you backstage. And now it is just you and me, guys. So, let me look for my banner here. All right. And we have reached the conclusion of our episode. Thank you so much for joining us today. Wherever you are watching this right now, whether that's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you are watching this episode right now, I encourage you to follow us on social media. So, whatever button that exists, press it right now. So, definitely stay in touch with us by pressing that button, whatever it is, whether it's like, subscribe, whatever the button is, press it right now, and stay in touch with us on social media. And check out our social media for more videos and clips. So definitely check out our other episodes while you're there. And one more thing, let us know what you thought about this episode by leaving a comment in the comment section below or in the comment thread. I would love to hear your thoughts about this episode today. And as a reminder, this web series is a production of A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. So if you would like to learn more about our organization, our services, our workshops, if you're interested in getting tutoring services for yourself or for your children, please reach out to us. The information is scrolling below on your screen right now, but I will just point this out. Our website is www.astepaheadtutoringservices.com, and we are also all over social media, so definitely check us out wherever you are. And lastly, we have an email list and a texting list. So if you want more information on discounts, promotions, any special offers, I encourage you to sign up for our email list and or our texting list. That information, of course, is scrolling below on your screen right now. And that is it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you being here, and I look forward to seeing you at the next episode. Thank you for joining us, and now I am signing off.